Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to today's video. We are doing another episode of speed dating my physical TBR. You guys really seem to love the last time we did this. I also really love doing this. This is actually probably the most useful video idea I have ever thought of in my entire YouTube career. Just being able to refresh myself on my own TBR to help me make more informed decisions on what to read next. If you have not watched episode 1 of speed dating my TBR, basically what we're doing here is I'm gonna read the first few sentences, maybe like the first paragraph of the books on my TBR here beside me. We're gonna discuss them a little bit. I'm gonna give them a rating out of 10, and this will just help me in the future when it comes time to picking what to read next. If I'm like mood reading, I'll just have a better idea of what these books actually entail, and it'll really help me as I continue to read my TBR. I do think it'd be fun to read the top 3 books, like with the top 3 scores from these speed dates in a reading vlog, so we have some work to do. We gotta get through a bunch more of these books. So we completed basically maybe like a little bit less than half of my TBR last time. I have moved around a couple of books since the last time, but I do remember myself what I have speed dated and what I have not speed dated yet. So I know we skipped over Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco last time, so let's start with this one today. I know this is a romantasy. I think there's something to do with the 7 deadly sins, something like that. And so let's read the first few sentences. Oh, Kerri Maniscalco also wrote the Stalking Jack the Ripper series as well. I had no idea. And obviously she wrote the Kingdom of the Wicked series. But let's see, page 1. Okay, we have a little bit of like a pre-prologue, and then we start into a prologue. For the exercise, I feel like reading into the actual book, like not these little forward pages. I feel like sometimes that doesn't give a good representation of what the bulk of the book will be like in terms of writing style. So we're gonna skip over that for this speed date exercise, and we're gonna start with a prologue, which is called House Envy, and it says several decades before. God's damned Fae bastard. The Prince of Envy stared at the emerald feather that had just fallen from the unfolded parchment in his hand, heart thundering from the taunt. The area between his shoulders suddenly burned, the need to summon his wings almost painful. That prick certainly knew where to hit Envy the hardest. The spell tattooed across the feather glowed in invitation. Be ready, from L. Okay, we got a little bit of a mystery here. We've met the Prince of Envy. I actually don't know who the protagonist in this book is. Oh, Prince of Envy, or no, Miss Camilla Antonius is the protagonist. I guess it's like a dual POV, unless we just get the prologue from this Prince of Envy, and the Prince of Envy is like the love interest in this romantasy. But nonetheless, that is the character we do meet in the prologue. We have a little bit of a mystery. We have like a mysterious kind of note that the Prince of Envy has just read, and he also has an enemy because whoever sent him this like invitation or this note, he's calling him a prick. So there's a little bit of intrigue in here. The writing is definitely very simple. It's that very sensational style of writing, like very in the moment. Seems like it'll be a high stakes type of a book. I'm gonna rate this a 7 out of 10. I feel like this is a solid start. It's nothing like overly unique, but I'm definitely intrigued. So there we have it. Throne of the Fallen, 7 out of 10. We didn't do this one. So this is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy. This is a mystery. This one, I think from what I've heard, is quite atmospheric. It's set on an island. It's very cold, isolated, remote, stormy, I think. But that's really all I know about it. So I kind of want to go into this a little bit blind, but let us do our little speed date. Okay, wow, our first page is like basically 1 paragraph and 1 sentence. So let's read it together. We are in the POV of Rowan, whoever that is. I have hated my mother for most of my life, but it is her face I see as I drown. The face I see when I wake from drowning is different. It's rough and wind-bitten and scratchy. It is what I'm looking at when the sudden arrival of pain overcomes me, and I know the image of him will forever be as one with this pain. Whenever I see this face, I will remember the burning sting of being dragged upon rocks and flayed open, left raw. I will feel the bursting pressure in my chest. The sensation will be so vivid. It will be like it's happening all over again. His face, a return, a drowning. Okay, yeah, I was definitely right about this being super atmospheric, very descriptive. I can immediately feel the essence of this book from that. Did this opening give us that much information about the plot and what's to come? No, but it definitely set the mood. It set the tone and it has intrigued me. So has this character drowned and then like come back to life? I don't really know what's going on, but it's definitely intriguing. I think I'm also going to give this a 7 out of 10. Very, very moody, very, very vibey, but I don't think it gave me much as to what to expect for the rest of the book. All right, and then the rest of these we have completed. So let's move down to these two books here, All Things Under the Moon by Anne Y.K. Choi and Fake Skating by Lynn Painter are arcs that I just received, and we're not really supposed to share direct quotes from those books until the published version has came out, and like you can check against the traditional published version to see if that quote exists in the like public published version. So we're gonna skip over these two and we're gonna go straight over to The Naturals. This is by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I know some of you have been really waiting for me to read this one. There's a really annoying sticker on the front of this. Can I just quickly get rid of that? Or is it gonna give me a tough time? It's like half giving me okay, no, it's coming, okay. Oh, nope, it ripped. Dang it, no. That's a disaster. I'm gonna have to clean that up. I'm just scraping it a little with my nail. It seems to be working. It's probably gonna leave a whole bunch of sticky residue on this book, but hey, we did our best and that's what counts. So yeah, The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the start to a series. I think it's like a similar like mystery teenager type of series like the Inheritance Games was. I enjoyed the first Inheritance Games book, but as that series went on, I just continued to get more bored of the series and the characters and the plot that was going on. But I've heard better things about The Naturals, I think. And I think this is about like a teenager or a group of teenagers that solve crimes, which sounds like a fun read, but let's get into the first couple sentences. Okay, this one also has a little bit of like a pre-forward kind of a page. We're gonna skip that for this exercise, of course, and start at chapter 1. The hours were bad, the tips were worse, and the majority of my coworkers definitely left something to be desired. But c'est la vie, que sera sera. Insert foreign language cliche of your choice here. It was a summer job and that kept Nona off my back. It also prevented my various aunts, uncles, and kitchen sink cousins from feeling like they had to offer me temporary employment in the restaurant, butcher shop, legal practice, boutique. Given the size of my father's very large, very extended, and very Italian family, the possibilities were endless, but it was always a variation on the same theme. Okay, so we've met our protagonist. They are currently working at a very terrible job. They also belong to a very large Italian family and we're a little bit sassy. Like the tone of the writing is fun, it's simple, but there's a little undertone of sass there, which I'm liking. I feel like this is going to be a fun read. It's going to be a nice, easy read. The font size is very big, just pointing that out. And this definitely makes me want to read more. Like I don't really know the main conflict. I don't really know the main purpose of the plot, like the direction we're going to go in. But so far, I like the little undertones of sass here. I'm going to give this, I think, a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, Seven Deadly Thorns by Amber Hamilton is also another arc, so we're gonna skip over that and we're gonna read The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door by H.G. Parry. I've actually had this one for a while. It does seem to be suited for more of a fall-winter read, which is why it hasn't really been on my radar this summer, but this is a fairy type of a fantasy, historical. It's set in Camford, 1920. I think there's something about a magical academy. Obviously, we're following scholars. Let's try this one out. All right, part 1, Camford, 1920. In the end, it was 4 words that changed the course of our lives and the history of the world. Perhaps it wasn't so surprising. They were, after all, the most important words in any language. What are you reading? At first, I didn't think the words were addressed to me. To begin with, in those days, people didn't speak to me without reason. In the weeks since I'd come to Camford, I could count on one hand the number of conversations I'd had with the other students. If I counted only those unprompted by myself, I was down to one finger. That had been on the first day, when somebody had asked who I was. After that, everyone knew and there had been no more questions. They all pretended not to understand my accent anyway. Oh, okay, so we have an underdog type of a character going to a new school. We all know that can be so tough, struggling to make friends, but I guess our main protagonist is also very bookish. I mean, obviously they're a scholar, they're studying, but they're reading a book and someone has just asked them what they're reading, which could alter the course of their fate and kind of start them on this journey. I'm liking this so far. I think it's solid. Again, I don't think it is necessarily a first paragraph that's super drawing me into the book, but I think it's a solid start. I like our environment. I'm excited about the magical academy setting. I'm excited about the cozy library bookish vibes, and I like that our protagonist is not like overly social. I feel like this is someone I could relate to. I think I'm gonna give this a 7.5 out of 10 too. Nothing outstanding that's jumping out to me, but I think this is solid. So that is The Scholar and The Last Fairy Door by H.G. Parry. Next up, okay, we have Great and Precious Things by Rebecca Yarros. This is one of her contemporary romances. This one also has another sticker on it. Oh goodness, I'm not gonna go there again. Not gonna attempt that. I actually don't really know what this one is about. I'm assuming it's another one of her military romances because that's what her other contemporaries have been so far. Okay, chapter 1, we are in the point of view of Camden. My lungs burned as I drew a deep breath, seeking oxygen that wasn't there, and my fingers itched to hold the cigarette I'd thrown away 6 years ago. Altitude did that to me every time, at least the breathing part. The craving for a smoke, that was courtesy of Alba, Colorado. Population 649, or so the sign I'd passed about a mile back proclaimed. Then again, I wasn't about to trust a sign that hadn't been updated since before I was born, which was par for the course in my hometown. Okay, we have nature, altitude, mountains. We're feeling a little cold. Maybe. We don't know too much of our main character right now other than their name is Camden. Is Camden a he or a she? I feel like that sounds like a he. Yep, okay. We're following Camden Daniels, who came back from war without his younger brother 6 years ago. Ah, this is gonna be sad. Rebecca Yarros makes me cry every single time. Anyways, so okay, we're connecting the dots here using the synopsis. So Camden has come back from war 6 years ago, lost his brother in the war, it seems. He gave up smoking after the war and now he's smoking again. So that does kind of set the tone for the story we're about to embark on. Like, it's a grab your tissues, make sure they're beside you and ready kind of a book. I think I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10 as well. We've been really hovering in that 7 out of 10 range, I feel like, in this speed dating round. Our last video where we did this, I feel like I was hovering more around 8 out of 10. These are more 7 out of 10s, which is okay, but I'm waiting for that banger of a first paragraph. The Hymn to Dionysus by Natasha Pulley. Actually, can I even read this one? No, because this is an art copy as well. There are rules out there set by publishers in terms of arcs. If you want to share a direct quote, you have to get approval from them or you have to check them against the published version, as I mentioned. So unfortunately, I cannot read those sentences out loud. So we're gonna skip that one, but it is a mythology retelling, which I'm excited to read because I've enjoyed things like A Song of Achilles or Circe by Madeleine Miller. So really, really curious in that one. Also seems like more of a fall read though, maybe. So I've been holding it off till that season. But anyways, The Bodyguard by Katherine is most definitely a published copy. Bestie Elin actually sent this one to me. So let's read the first couple of sentences. I know Bestie Elin really, really loved this book. Obviously, that's why she sent it to me. But it is, you know, probably a classic Katherine romance book. Let's read a little bit of chapter 1 together. My mother's dying wish was for me to take a vacation. Why are we getting so emotional already? Okay, just do it, okay? She'd said, tucking a lock of hair behind my ear. Just book a trip and go, like normal people do. I hadn't taken a vacation in 8 years. But I'd said, okay, the way you do when your sick mom asks for something. Then I'd added, as if we were negotiating, I'll take 1 vacation. Of course, I hadn't realized it was her dying wish at the time. I thought we were just making middle of the night hospital conversation. But then suddenly, it was the night after her funeral. I couldn't sleep and I kept thrashing around in my bed, and that moment kept coming back to me. The way she'd held my gaze, squeezed my hand to seal the deal, as if taking a vacation should be something that mattered. Oh, is this another book that's going to wreck me? That's really sad. I mean, we've definitely met our main protagonist. We've definitely been introduced to the main conflict. We've got the emotions in immediately. And I have read Katherine books before, so I am familiar with her writing style. I'm gonna give this, you know what? I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. I think this really sets up the mood, tone, and journey of our book very well. And although this is so sad, I do love books that are sad, and I do love books that explore grief and just like those sad themes. So yeah, I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10, and I really want to read this. All right, some summer vibes here. We have Golden Girl by Elin Hilderbrand. This is one of her classic Nantucket summer novels. I honestly don't really know much to the plot of this one as well, but I think some of you have told me this book made you cry, so another one that could have some sad themes, but let's go ahead and read a little bit. So our first chapter is in Martha's point of view. She receives a message from the front office. A new soul is about to join them, and this soul has been assigned to Martha. Martha puts on her reading glasses and finds her clipboard. The soul is arriving from Nantucket Island. Martha is both surprised and delighted. Surprised because Nantucket Harbor is where Martha met her own fateful end 2 summers ago, and she thought the front office was intentionally keeping her away from coastal areas so she didn't become, as Gen Z said, triggered. And Martha's delighted because, well, who doesn't love Nantucket? Hold on. What is going on here? Is Martha a ghost? Wait. Oh my god. Martha's a ghost. Martha is totally a ghost. Okay, the synopsis says, this is what I get for going into books without knowing what I'm going into, okay? The synopsis says, on a perfect June day, Vivian Howe, author of 13 beach novels and mother of 3, is killed in a hit-and-run accident while jogging near her home in Nantucket. She ascends to the beyond, where she's assigned to a person named Martha, who allows Vivi to watch what happens below for one last summer. So we have like a ghost transition story here. I did not expect that. I did not expect that coming from Elin Hilderbrand. I know in at least some of her other books, like in Hotel Nantucket, there is like a sort of ghostly spirit character in that one, but this one seems to be like completely focused on like the beyond and someone like passing. Whoa. Oh, Ed Capinash is in this one too. He's like one of those recurring characters that just like pops up in this Nantucket universe. Wait, that's so funny. That makes me really want to read this. I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think like if you did not know the context of this book, you would have no idea what's going on, but that definitely intrigued me with just like the quirkiness of this opening. That's so bizarre. That really caught me off guard. But yeah, I'm gonna give this, what did I say? An 8? An 8 out of 10. I feel like this, it's starting out kind of humorous and silly, but I think it's going to morph into a more emotional story because obviously we're dealing with like the passing of someone, and that obviously always comes with a whole bunch of emotions. Wow, okay, Golden Girl. Had no idea this is the direction we'd be going in with Elin Hilderbrand, but I'm here for it. Next up is Slinger by Rachel Schneider. This is one of those really super trendy romanticises that everyone has been reading lately, including a lot of my like in-person friends. Apparently there is a gigantic plot twist at the end of this one, but let's read a bit of chapter 1. Oh, the art, the like title heading has like bubbles. Some bubble art there. That's cute. What is the bubble significance? There's also, now that I notice, there is some there is some bubble art on the cover. Cute. Okay. Chapter 1. If there's a way, I say, confirming the plan. Kai dips his head in a nod. Yes, but no one goes alone. He ties his blonde hair in a high knot and looks at Messer. Agreed? Looking at the reflection in the tiny mirror hanging over the washbowl, Messer smiles at Kai as he rubs a hand across his freshly shaven chin. Afraid we'll have fun without you? I need you to be serious for 10 minutes, Kai admonishes. The merchant ship pitches to the side and we brace ourselves on the nearest post. That's just confused me, to be quite honest. That's just really confused me. We've entered this story literally mid-conversation. We start out, the literal first sentence is, if there's a way, I say, confirming the plan. We're like in the middle of making plans for something. Who knows what it is? Maybe it's like a type of a heist. I don't know. What is the story about? I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. This is honestly, I'm sure the rest of this book is super fun and really good, but just in terms of the opening sentence, I'm so confused, and I don't think in a good way. I just wish I was less confused. And like, I don't know, I don't like the feeling of joining mid-sentence. Like maybe we can do that further into the book once we've established a little more, but for that to be your opening line and then not immediately explaining what's going on is a little disorienting to me. And that's definitely personal opinion. I don't know if I'm obsessed with this way of opening a story, but we've met a couple characters. We have an I. What's our name? Bryn. Okay, we've met Bryn, who is our female protagonist. We know Kai and we know Messer. They definitely have this like nice little friendship banter going on. Like they're teasing each other. They're on a ship. Is this like a full ship story? Is that why we have a lot of like water and bubble imagery? Is this like a pirate book? Seafaring adventure. Okay, maybe we do have pirate vibes here. That's kind of fun. I don't know. I'm gonna give this, what did I give this? I already forget my rating. Whatever I said like 30 seconds ago. Not the strongest start, but I'm kind of curious to continue reading on. I think mostly because I've been hearing friends and like my circles talk about this book a lot, but in terms of the opening sentence or opening paragraph, I don't think it's that strong. All right, let's continue. Oh goodness, these hardcovers are always so difficult to get out of the TBR cart. But this next book is The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. This one is a literary fiction. I think there are ties to mythology, maybe a little bit of magical realism, but we follow Lee, who is half Asian, half white, and she travels to Taiwan to meet her maternal grandparents for the first time. And her mother is a bird. So we have kind of like is this kind of a shark heart situation where we have this alternate universe where turning into an animal is kind of a normal occurrence? We'll see. I loved shark heart though, so this is making me very, very interested. Okay, let's go ahead with chapter 1. My mother is a bird. Okay, there we go. We're getting straight to the point. This isn't like some William Faulkner stream of consciousness metaphorical crap. My mother is literally a bird. I know it's true. The way I know the stain on the bedroom floor is as permanent as the sky. The way I know my father will never forgive himself. Nobody believes me, but it is a fact. I am absolutely certain. In the beginning, that mother-shaped hole was made of blood, dark and sticky, soaked to the roots of the carpet. I'm gonna leave it there because the next sentence is quite long, but oh, what a way to start a book. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I think I'm gonna give this an 8.5. I really like this actually. I like that we just got straight to the point. Okay, we've met our protagonist. She's like, my mom is a bird. I know that sounds kind of insane, but my mom is literally a bird and I know it for sure. That's something actually like very similar with Shark Heart. It was just like, yeah, my husband's turning into a shark. And in this one, she's just like, yeah, my mother is a bird. Love that. We do have some like imagery with like the dark and sticky blood. I really like this. This is a really good start. 8.5. For sure. I really want to read more. I'm really curious to see where this story goes. And I also really love these types of stories where our characters journey back home and learn more about their like roots, where they came from. And I'm really curious about the tie-in with the magical realism and the fact that her mother is a bird. So there we go. The Astonishing Color of After. And you know what? That is why this exercise is so good, because this book, I remember being really excited when I got it, when I purchased it, but it's just kind of fallen down on my radar because of like new and upcoming books that are constantly like being released I'm getting excited about. So the whole point of the speed dating exercise is to rediscover the books in your TBR that you've like forgotten about or pushed to the side. So absolutely love that. Let's try and oh gosh, squeeze this back in. Next up is The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. Maclean. This book I'm also really excited to dive into, but also feels like more of a fall winter read because it seems like a very cozy fantasy. We're set in a mythical beast zoo and we have a little queer romance subplot in here, I think. So let's read the beginning. Part 1, Chapter 1. Oh, there's like little phoenix footprints as well on there for a little bit of art. Okay. Ayla McBaron. Oh goodness. That's another name I'm gonna struggle with pronouncing, but we're gonna go with Ayla McBaron, okay? Ayla McBaron's favorite time at the San Temculo Zoo was early morning, cool, quiet, and best of all, not a person in sight. In the pre-dawn, an eggplant purple sky hung over city street lamps silhouetted with palm trees. Bird keepers worked the earliest shifts, their peckish charges awake at first light. Ayla swiped her ID card at the staff gate and then crossed the entrance plaza, hunched beneath a backpack of blue canvas and cartoon animal patches, work boots tapping terracotta bricks engraved with donor names. A bronze statue of the zoo's peacock griffin mascot stood sentinel in the fog, metal wings spread wide, backbrushed gold from millions of visitors clambering up for a photo. This immediately feels so cozy. Immediately. Like the eggplant purple sky, that's really hitting for me. I love that we've just immediately entered this quiet time of the zoo, this like pre-dawn before the zoo opens. Only the bird keepers are awake. I love this vibe. Love, love, love. Like the quiet before the storm. It's so cozy. It's colorful. Everything's purple. Absolutely love this. I'm also gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. This sounds so cozy. Oh, I love this. That's the Phoenix Keeper. Oh gosh, we have a bunch of hardcovers. Let's just get these 3 out at the same time so I don't have to disassemble my cart like over and over and over again. Next up is A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. I acquired this book in January when it first came out and I did not read it then, and so I have still not read it. But this is actually one of my anticipated releases for this year. But I also feel like this is not screaming summer read, so it's another one that will have to wait for at least the fall, because I do know Adrienne Young's writing is very atmospheric, and yeah, I'm just not, I love her writing, but I'm not in the mood for it quite yet. But this one is another one of her magical realism mysteries. I think we follow a set of twins, and one of them goes missing, and the other twin feels this like link to her twin and just like needs to figure out what happened to her twin brother. So let's read chapter 1, or not the whole chapter, but you know what I mean. We were made in the dark. I used to hate it when Johnny said that, but now I know it's true. Sunlight flickered on the windshield as I turned the wheel and the road curved, tightening. Trees pressed in like a wall on both sides of the cracked asphalt, making the old highway that snaked through the Six Rivers National Forest look impossibly narrower. I could feel that cinching in my lungs too, the air squeezing from them just a little more, the deeper into the forest I drove. I'd expected that. Yeah, okay, so atmospheric. We have these like looming trees pressing in, the air like squeezing the life out of us. It's like feeling really heavy. We've met our main character. This is solid. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I'm not immediately itching to pick this one up right now, again, just because of seasonal things, but also, yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for this one, but I know there's a high chance I will like it because I do love Adrienne Young's writing. Let's go over to The Wishing Game by Meg Shaffer. I think we have some sort of like a book-related contest in this one. So it sounds like one of those books like written for the book lovers, you know, like a book about books. We're starting off with a prologue, and we start off in the month of May. Every night, Hugo went for a walk on the 5 o'clock beach, but tonight was the first time in 5 years his wandering feet spelled out an SOS in the sand. He traced the letters carefully, drawing them large enough that they could be seen from space. Not that it mattered. The tide would wash the 5 clean by dawn. It had been a bit of whimsy on Jack's part naming it the 5 o'clock beach. Destiny, Jack said, of finding this little patch of Atlantic forest 20 odd years ago. These 90 acres right off the coast of southern Maine formed a near perfect circle. Jack Masterson, who'd created Clock Island on paper and in imaginations, could now build it in real life. So this is one of those starts to books that I have no idea what's going on. It's a little bit abstract for me right now, seemingly. We're on a beach called 5 o'clock beach. We have a character who is spelling out SOS in the sand. We're not sure the purpose of why yet. Definitely feels very whimsical. It's reminding me of Caraval. I don't know if this is actually going to be similar to Caraval at all. I don't think we have like circus-y carnival vibes, but I think just like the clock stuff, like Clock Island, 5 o'clock beach. There's this particular scene near the beginning of Caraval that is just like very clocky. There's clocks everywhere, like emphasis on time. So I think that's what's giving me Caraval vibes, along with the whimsical, just like kind of nonsensical things that are going on. I'm intrigued. I think I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. It's like kind of bizarre, but in that good way where you're like, what is going on? Give me more. I need more of this. So there we have it. That's The Wishing Game. Okay, the next is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. This is a somewhat historical fiction, I think. We are set in the deep south to California from the 1950s to the 1990s. We follow a pair of sisters who grew up in a southern Black community, and I think they run away when they're teenagers. One of them ends up returning to this Black community, and the other one ends up being more tied into like the white community marrying a white man. And I think we just explore the differences between their choices, their lives, like where they've ended up. And I've heard some really, really, really wonderful things about this book as well. So let's read part 1, The Lost Twins. We're starting in 1968. The morning one of the lost twins returned to Mallard, Lou LeBon ran to the diner to break the news. And even now, many years later, everyone remembers the shock of sweaty Lou pushing through the glass doors, chest heaving, neckline darkened with his own effort. The barely awake customers clamored around him, 10 or so, although more would lie and say that they'd been there too, if only to pretend that this once they'd witnessed something truly exciting. In that little farm town, nothing surprising ever happened, not since the Vignes twins had disappeared. But that morning, in April 1968, on his way to work, Lou spotted Desiree Vignes walking along Partridge Road carrying a small leather suitcase. Okay, yeah. Immediately, I like this. It looks like we're jumping in the middle of the story because this story spans from the 50s to the 90s. We're starting in 68. So we're starting in the middle, and then I can see us jumping back, jumping forward, and hopefully introducing lots of parallels within those jumping timelines. I wonder if this Lou character is the POV we follow, or if we will jump to like the actual sisters' POVs as well. But I think this is solid. I think this is good at introducing the premise, introducing our characters, at least, you know, one out of the two sisters, and setting up this anticipation of like what will happen now. Like, we haven't seen these sisters in so long, we never expected them to come back, but here she is. Now what? It kind of like introduces this question. Pretty good. I'm gonna give this an 8. Looking at the time, I think we've yapped for long enough in this video, but I really enjoyed this. I am going to, at some point this month, I'm going to look back at all of these speed dates, find the top 3 scores, and then I think we should just read those books in a reading vlog together. So that is going to be happening soon, hopefully. That being said, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I do hope you love this speed dating exercise. So if you liked this and you definitely want to see more, leave me a like and a comment. Definitely let me know. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know out of the books we speed dated today, which would be like your top reads that you would jump to first. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!